Hi guys, this recording is for January 7th for the reading that's due on January 7th. We're in the memory unit. The pages that you guys are responsible for are pages 255 through 258. That's in chapter 7a. And I'm also going to go over some of the stuff that was, you guys took notes on chapter 1, but we're not going over it in class, and I want to just make sure that you got the main things out of it. So I'm going to go over a few things from that. So first thing is in chapter 1, you don't need to know the whole thing. You do not need to know the whole thing. It's kind of a chapter that just gives you a background of psychology, but there's not a lot in it that is super important for our class for what you're going to be tested on in the AP exam. What you do need to know are about three things. You need to know some famous psychologists, which I'll put down on the next page. There's more of them on the next page, but these are some ones that you really should start getting a handle on right away, and you'll be tested on these. The approaches to psychology, which is in page 10 and 11, and then there's a table 1.1 on page 11. You really need to copy down, and you need to know that. That's if you study this table right here, 1.1, and know these famous psychologists, you're going to be just dandy for the exam. So the table has all of the, not all, but a lot of the different approaches to psychology on it with how they differ. Here's some names you need to know. Maybe tomorrow I'll give a picture of each one of these people and put a little caption next to them. I'll talk about them for a moment, but I'll kind of make a better connection. But if you go through it once and do that yourself, it'll make a better connection. So look up, do a Google search of these people's faces, look them up if you don't see it in the book, and if you just read the Wikipedia article, read the first intro on each one of these people in the Wikipedia article, you'll get a good understanding. That's what I would do. So we have Mary Whiton Calkins, Charles Darwin, not really a psychologist, but he plays a big role in evolutionary psychology and a lot of the how we look at the mind-body connection today. Dorothy Dix. All of you have probably heard of Sigmund Freud, G. Stanley Hall, William James. William James is definitely in the book. Big time you need to know this guy. Wilhelm Wundt, he's German. We'll go over how to say his name in class because he's awesome. He's got an awesome name. Abraham Maslow, Ivan Pavlov, Jean Piaget, Carl Rogers. Carl Rogers is just like Mr. Rogers. He's a feel-good guy. He's the humanist. Humanist. B.F. Skinner in the Skinner boxes. He's the guy with Baby Albert. E.B. Titchener and Johnny B. Watson, another behavioralists. William James was the first American psychologist. Wilhelm Wundt had the first psychology lab, and let's see if you guys can tell what country he hails from. The W's are pronounced with a V sound. V. And then Piaget was developmental psychology. Pavlov was behaviorism, classical conditioning. Maslow had his hierarchy of needs. And I'll leave some of these other ones for you to find out on your own. Calkins and Dorothy Dix, two of the only girls on this list, and they're pretty important. They've shown up on the AP exam a time or two. So know these names, know a little bit about them, know what field of psychology they're from, and there's not going to be a ton of questions about this on the test. However, if the sooner you get these people down, the easier your connections are going to be made as we get to see these people later on in the course. There's a few other vocabulary words from this unit that I want you to make sure you guys know. There's a lot of vocabulary words at the end because you don't need to know them all. I just want you to focus on these, as well as the fields of psychology, which are in the vocabulary section at the end of the chapter. Empiricism, you know what that is. Structuralism and functionalism. These two right here, I've seen a bunch of released AP exams from the last 15 years, and one of these two shows up on just about every one. So you need to know these, and a lot of times students get these two mixed up and they don't remember. So start hammering this one home. Structuralism and functionalism, and kind of know who they go with. Natural selection, if you've taken biology, you know you've heard of this. And then the nature nurture debate, or sometimes called nature nurture issue. Need to know about these. So these 5 things plus the approaches on page 10 and 11. Now on 255 to 258, it's real quick, short reading. It's the intro to the chapter, and there's this short little section on actually something that's super important in the unit, which is the information processing model. So pay really close attention to this. Try to get this thing memorized or have a really good understanding. Copy down or make it your own figure for 7A.2. That is the information processing model. If you can visualize that and understand how that works, that's going to be a big help for this unit. Ask yourselves in the questions, the green boxes at the end of each little section. I think on page 258, about halfway through the page, there's a little before you move on or something like that question. You need to answer those 2 questions. Those are the perfect spot where you add to your notes. Look back at the how to take notes video if you don't remember. What color do those types of questions go in? What color are you going to write in your notebook with those types of questions? All right, make sure you get those in there. I'll be looking for that. And then finally, since this is such a short, you're going to finish reading this in 5 minutes. I try to leave you a little time at the beginning so you can work on your vocabulary cards for the unit. Your vocabulary cards, the sooner you memorize these vocabulary words, the easier your daily quizzes are going to be, the easier you're going to do on the test, the exam at the end of the unit, and the better you're going to do on the AP exam. So vocabulary is key in this class, and you get on that quick, you're going to be looking good. Finally, I just wanted to make a couple more points. Like tonight, read ahead if you've got extra time. You really can't get that too far ahead because something's going to come up and you're going to be not able to read all the pages that you want to read for the night. Or maybe it's coming up. I mean, some nights we might have 15 pages before it's all said and done. I try not to do that, but we might have 15 pages. And if you've already got 10 of those pages done because you've been reading ahead a little bit, it only leaves you with 5. And so when you can't handle it, take it. This is one of those things that's, you have to self-regulate on, but if you do, you're going to be happy you did. And then I'll give you the URL for this, but make sure you write your conclusion every single day. The conclusion for the reading. You'll have a link on the same link every single day for every day of the semester. You're going to write your conclusion, which is going to address five questions, 5-sentence, 1-paragraph conclusion of that day's reading, and that's how one of the ways that I will give you a grade. And so, all these little things, I'm trying to keep you guys accountable with your reading on the daily quizzes, you filling out the conclusion. But if you do these things, one, it's going to be easy points because you're going to have done it. And so if you don't do as well in the exams, these will help cushion that. But 2, by doing these things, you're going to do well in the exam. And then you're going to do well in the AP exam. So it's going to be awesome. And then finally, our next, just to give you a heads up, right off the bat, our exam is next Wednesday, 1:15. On the exam days, all your vocabulary cards are due. Your notebook's going to be turned in. I'm going to be looking for that color coding. I'm going to be looking for the summaries at the end of each section. One way you can do it is you can just copy down, write the summary in your book, and then copy it down and type it into the Google form that I'll give you the URL for. Let's just make sure you answer the questions that you were supposed to. Your exams are going to be 50 questions. This one will just be 50 questions to kind of get your feet wet. And as we move on and learn what these FRQs are and how to attack them, your exams will be 50 questions and an FRQ in the class period. So it's very quick. Our class period is about exactly half of what the AP exam will actually be. And the AP exam will actually be 100 questions and 2 FRQs. So you have 2.5 hours approximately to do that. And 3 hours approximately to do that. And you have little 1.5 hours to do it in our class. So it's a good way to get you ready for that. Remember that the day that I have listed at the beginning, January 7th, this is the day that these pages will be due. We'll have the quiz on. So you're probably reading this on January 6th. You're probably reading this tonight, Monday, January 6th. But this is, the reading is for that day that it's due. And I'll try to put up the next few days, always have a week in advance on these things so you can go ahead if you are reading ahead. And these are just designed to give you a heads up of what to pay attention to and give you any additional information if I've got it. See you tomorrow. Happy reading.